After the critical success of Mission Impossible, it's no surprise that a sequel was in order, but so was the pressure of following up an action genre classic. Allotted a budget of $125 million by Paramount Pictures, Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner tapped on the highly influential Hong Kong director John Woo to direct the second installment of the series. A quick side note, let's keep up to date with our count, ladies and gentlemen. That's $45 million more than the first film. At the time, Woo was well known for his recent work on films such as Broken Arrow and Face Off. His being brought in to scope the project itself made plenty of sense at the time, as it added a unique perspective to the film in totality. Woo was quoted by Paula Wagner as stating, "I want to make a romantic action-adventure film," to which Cruise and Wagner were ecstatic. Motorcycles, explosions, near-death mountain climbs, and high-flying speed chases mixed in with a bit of spice was everything Cruise wanted for this film. William Goldman was initially hired on to write the screenplay and shortly exited the production, with Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga penning the story. Robert Towne was brought back in to write the screenplay that you see played out on screen. Towne was personally taken back by the development of the film prior to his arrival, stating that Mission Impossible 2 was a unique experience because the action sequences were already fully conceived. Writing a story to fit the action was his main priority during the creative process. Romance was an element that Cruise wanted to explore more in this installment, and Towne facilitated these ideas through his creative writing. Tandy Newton would be cast as Cruise's female counterpart and love interest Nia Nordhoff Hall. DeGrace Scott was cast as Sean Ambrose, the antagonist of the film, and a man fueled by his envy towards Ethan Hunt. A love triangle of sorts was an element in this film, as Nia is Ambrose's ex-girlfriend. Now, where have we heard that idea before? Ving Rhames, of course, reprised his role as Luther Stickle and was the only returning member from the original IMF team of the 1996 film. Additionally, Anthony Hopkins even appeared in the picture as Mission Commander Swanbeck. This would be an uncredited cameo appearance for him. Cruise credits Mission Impossible 2 as the movie that could make the franchise more fun in the sense that there could be more sequels spawned from the nucleus of this project. Principal photography for the film began in 1999 in New South Wales, Australia, and Utah. One of the most iconic scenes from any Mission Impossible film was the mountain climbing scene, storyboarded by Woo. The scene is the introduction for the film. Back to what was said about the writing of the film, William Goldman alleges he was the first writer on board for Mission Impossible 2 and has been quoted as saying, "All that's left of mine is the climax, the climbing up the rocks sequence." Shot in Horse Point State Park, Ron Kalk, a world-renowned climber, was brought in to assist with some of the shots and act as a guide for Cruise, but Cruise executed every aspect of the scene himself. Having to shoot the scene with a helicopter, Woo expressed his nervousness with the blades being so close to Cruise's head during the shoot. They'll keep you on edge, no pun intended. Woo was certainly not alone in his concern. Paramount Pictures expressed concern regarding Cruise's safety, in which he is free solo climbing, but Cruise refused to drop the idea because he could not think of a better way to reintroduce Ethan Hunt. Having sustained a torn shoulder during the heart-pounding sequence, from jumping from one rock to another, the shoot was a success, and one of the more iconic introductions to any Mission Impossible film. Another iconic scene is the assault on Biosite. Stunt coordinator Brian Smurs wanted a dramatic entry into the building as Cruise leaps from a helicopter above. The scene gives the audience a sense of unease as Cruise must time his jump in order not to be trapped by the Lavora doors beneath. The sheer criticality of the scenario truly builds intensity. While the helicopter is real, a green screen was used to create the backdrop as well as a shaft for the eventual free fall. Falling at 32 feet per second never looked like so much fun. The escape from the biosite is a neat setup in which Cruise free falls out of a hole in the wall. With the addition of the city as the backdrop for the traveling decelerator, it gives the scene a sense of scale. Woo slowed down the frame as Cruise makes his exit, describing it as romantic and sad. I'd note that this makes the scene much more dramatic as well. And who could forget the dove surrounding Cruise as he walks through the flame to eventually leap from the building. Originally intended to be a car chase, Woo wanted the scene to demonstrate real speed, and the motorcycle was the appropriate vehicle for this. Through multiple iterations of the idea, the scene eventually evolved into a two-cycle chase. Looking to excite the audience visually, the over-the-top nose wheelie is a standout sequence as the car chasing Cruise almost slides under the tail of the bike as Tom aims his handgun at the attackers, and then proceeds to discharge multiple rounds as the car explodes. As over-the-top as the nose wheelie is, the asphalt ski sequence is even more outlandish. While not realistic, it is visually captivating and is in essence the epitome of early 2000s sequence action. The motorcycle joust leads into the finale of the film, in which both Cruise and Scott collide with each other in midair as the two motorcycles explode above them. The waves in the background crashing against the shore as both actors meet the sandy floor, a classic John Woo touch. The final fight sequence on the beach between Cruise and Scott is a culmination of everything the film leads up to. Insistent on using a real knife, the knife used in the scene was carefully measured to stop a quarter of an inch from Cruise's eyeball. Cruise, being the daredevil that he is, told Scott to put his full strength down on the knife to capture a more realistic look for the scene. While Ethan Hunt and Ambrose fight to the death, the spinning kick to the chin, which sends Ambrose into a rock, is the cherry on top, and the circus-like mid-air pistol grab is one of the coolest ways to end a foe that clearly has the drop on you. Hans Zimmer was enlisted to tackle the score. An original piece was composed and conducted by himself. It also features vocals performed by Lisa Gerrard. Zimmer has gone on record as saying the love theme for Mission Impossible 2 was written just 6 weeks before they started shooting the film. Zimmer was clearly a major player from the beginning. Diego Pacheco of Collider stated in a 2004 article via the platform that Hans Zimmer's Mission Impossible 2 score is one of the most underrated scores in his catalog. Having completed post-production on the picture, Mission Impossible 2 was released theatrically in the United States by Paramount Pictures on May 24, 2000 and grossed over $545 million worldwide with a budget of $125 million. This was more than enough to satisfy the executives of Paramount. At this time, the Mission Impossible films had grossed a total of $1 billion and were here to stay. Mission Impossible 2 was crowned as the highest grossing film of that year, cementing the series once more. All in all, Mission Impossible 1 and Mission Impossible 2 are the springboards for our next chapter in this series, Mission Impossible 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed part 2 of the evolution of Mission Impossible and stick around for the third installment of this series. Please comment down below and leave your thoughts about Mission Impossible 2. Also, subscribe to the channel and share this video with a couple of friends and colleagues. It helps us out a lot. My name is Neff, and this was the evolution of Mission Impossible Part 2.